Today we have art in motion here on the land as I show you guys my creation, the Nabo pits that I mentioned in the episode before. So let's get it. Last episode, we focused on finishing the dam and also creating these earthworks that I'm calling Nabo pits. They're going to be pits that I utilize to create a mini forest by stacking layers on layers using materials from this beautiful land that you are seeing. And when the rains come in, the hope is to create this compost tea within every single pit. Now, we're going to be utilizing also the compost that I have been stacking up over the past couple of months. Even though I haven't been the most consistent with it, I am doing my best to be very mindful. Every time I go to the land, I am going to bring some type of biomass, some type of organic material, because I do have a garden at home and I know people that have gardens. And so this is where all of those materials are going to be. It's going to be in these pits to where they can just be stacked up and eventually create the perfect breeding ground for fungi and the perfect home for all the different types of bugs that you can think of, which will only attract larger predators and larger predators. And that is how you take care of the food web, by going from the bottom up instead of the top down. The compost you are seeing is actually from an avocado tree that my sister-in-law was chopping up. So I was gifted all of this. So I'm very grateful for it. And in the future, I will be taking donations for people who have gardens and farms and things like that, and who have excess compost, excess material that they want to get rid of. And I'm also going to be looking into working with the local government, the city government, to see what kind of programs and what kind of things that they can dump on the land that'll help me out in the long run and save me a lot of time and a lot of money. Now, I will admit that when I was pouring in the material for this pit, it is way larger than what I initially thought. And so, yeah, this earthwork is huge. It's going to take a lot more materials and a lot more effort. And I just so happened to start this project on the windiest day that I have ever been here, I've ever experienced here. The wind was so strong that it was closing my car door as I was opening it. It was making me lose balance when I was standing still and facing it. It obviously, as you can see from the video, is just straight taking everything out of the pit. And so I absolutely needed weight. I needed rocks. I needed sticks. I needed things that will hold these leaves down as I am filling up this pit. And it definitely made it a lot harder to work with, but it was actually pretty fun. And I did find that really cool stick that I just threw. It was in the shape of an arch, so animals can actually hide under it. Now, I saw a scene, a tragic scene going on in the land, and I want you guys to use your imaginations and comment down below what you think is going on here. There are 3 dead beetles, and 2 of them are kind of connected to each other. So are they lovers and the beetle took them out and took himself out? Are they going down and having some battle? I'm not sure. I want you guys to be creative. I know it was fun for me to just have these thoughts in my head. The repetition that comes with this, the slowness, the patience required that comes with rebuilding the land is so therapeutic to me, because you really just have to trust in what you are doing and let time play out. Let the natural elements take over and do their thing. And if there's one thing we know about nature, is that it never rushes, yet it accomplishes everything it wants to. And so I have to put that into my head sometimes when I get really excited about these projects and expect them to do such great things, or expect myself to finish them in such short amount of time. I just have to realize that's not what this is about. This is a passion project, yes. This is also a forever project. Forever that I am alive, or that someone is stewarding this land, it will continue to replenish itself, grow, and do many different things that probably I can't explain. So knowing this, it brings a lot of comfort. For some, it might bring anxiety because, a lot of people nowadays want to have their hands on everything and make everything go exactly how they want it to go. But for me, it brings me a lot of peace, because I know all I need to do is show up. All I need to do is keep being joyful doing what I'm doing. And it's never going to feel like work to me. It's never going to feel like a disappointment to me. And I love that about this project. This project brings me so much joy, so much peace. Even being out here in the cold, in the wind, no rain, being the only one for miles upon miles, I still have this huge sense of peace that comes over me from doing this type of work, knowing that I may not fully benefit from it now, but down the line, I know my kids and their kids and so on are going to benefit from it. If you guys have been watching from the start, we actually started this compost pile the day one that I started working on the land. And so I was a little bit confused. I'm not going to say disappointed. That's what wanted to come out at first, but I'll say confused, to know that nothing really broke down. But I guess I can't be that surprised. There wasn't any rain. I started a lot, way too late. It was just a couple drizzles, and then it was basically summer. But luckily we have carcasses like these, and we have a tree like this. It was our old Christmas tree that I decided to utilize for the land. So we have a little head start on things. And here you go. You see me throwing in the carcasses because this pit is going to be just this big blend of just waste, to be very honest with you. So that when the water comes, it's not going to smell pretty in these pits, but man, is there going to be some transformation. There's going to be some growth. There's going to be, the breaking down process really starting to kick in once the rains really come. I am looking to mimic the forest because the forest is the best teacher in this situation, regardless of what science or what type of agriculture, permaculture, all these different types of lingo that people are using, these different terms. The forest really is my greatest teacher. It's the one that I look for inspiration, for motivation, and for art. And so I want to recreate the forest floor. If you were to go out to any, thriving forest today and you look at the ground, it's going to look like this. It's going to be layered and layered and layered, full of different droppings, from leaves to sticks to, stools and rocks and whatever have you, will be on the floor. There's going to be different layers, different levels. It's not going to be flat, cookie cutter lawn, and most importantly, it's going to have trees, not just any tree, because sure, we can look at the green trees and say, let's just plant a bunch of green trees, but there's also going to be several dead trees. Okay, standing dead trees, meaning they haven't fallen over. And so they're erect, they're standing up. And those are very important in the ecosystem because they get utilized by bugs that go into the wood. They get utilized by birds that sit on top of on the branches. And so I was inspired to reuse our Christmas tree. I didn't want to throw it away. I knew that it would serve a purpose here on the land. And so I am using it using this tree and using this pit to recreate something like a gallery, something like a museum. If you guys, I live in the LA area, so there is the Natural History Museum in Los Angeles, and in there they have a window about maybe 10 foot by 10 foot, so similar to this. And in that window, they have, like stuffed animals, and then they set up this whole scene for the animal to have like a snapshot of what it looks like in nature. You'll have the trees, you'll have all the litter on the floor, you'll have obviously the painting in the background, so you can really get a snapshot. And this is what motivated me and really inspired me to do something like this, because they are able to recreate the situation in which that animal thrived, and that is what I'm doing on the land today. And as you can see, I think it's going great. It looks beautiful. You can see how much material is in there, and it's all going to change the more that it's flattened out, the more that it's walked on, the more rocks get onto it, and of course, when the water comes, that's going to change everything. You might see mushrooms appear. You might see a lot more bugs. You're just going to see a lot more life and activity. I decided it would be a perfect spot for us to place our camera, because I did throw in some fruits. I did throw in a bunch of material. I know it's going to attract the native animals on the land, and not to spoil it, but we did capture something, and I almost jumped for joy. I was so excited that we were able to capture this beautiful being, this beautiful animal on our camera. And it just gave me more confirmation that this pit was a success. This pit was a great idea, and we haven't even reached the rainy season yet. So I am so excited, and I want to show you guys what we found on the camera. Check this out. We've had coyotes, we've had dogs, different birds, but we have never had this guy. What you're looking at is a desert fox, and the way that you're able to spot them is by the black tip on the tail and the pointy ears in the video. And so this was something that just made my day. On top of that, at the end of everything, I was being escorted out by this flock of birds, and I was able to enjoy this beautiful view, and so can you. And so I will see you guys on the next video.